How radical are young people getting?
More radical by the day. After COVID, my idea that we're going to have some kind of revolution really faded pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I don't think we're going to have some, 1776 revival here.
1789? I hope not.
Let's hope not. Yeah, I don't want to go on the guillotine either. But I think more and more what's going to happen is people are going to check out. We're already seeing this, right? We hear people, men walking away from the workforce, walking away from forming families. We're going to keep eating out the center of what actually holds our society up. We think it's abstract ideas. What it actually is young men going out, working, forming families, finding, worthy women, creating families, building societies together. That's what actually holds these things up. And it's all going to haul out from the center. And you can't import foreigners fast enough to solve this problem for you. And so what we're going to end up with is if we don't take radical action, I don't think it's some kind of armed rebellion. What we're going to see is a society that falls apart from the inside.
It's really not complicated. Men just stopped trying because the effort stopped being worth it. Why keep giving time, energy, and money to people who only take without giving anything real back? Society told men to keep proving themselves, then laughed when they walked away. Now they've figured it out. Once a man knows his worth, he won't chase scraps or beg for respect.
What I'm trying to get at here is each of you, when we talk about which choice you'd make, like the career or the babies, we've asked this before, and I'll let you keep going around, but usually it ends up being, well, I'm going to do what makes me happy. And if humanity dies, it dies. But men don't ever even really get that choice. Men don't ever even contemplate that. Men are like, well, the world needs to be built. Men don't get value just from being cute. You guys could do nothing. You could just sit there, and every word that comes out of your mouth can be absolutely R-worded, and you can be total airheads and be totally good for nothing. And as long as you're cute, some man is going to love you and pay your bills and give you whatever you want and do whatever he needs to do to make you happy. Men don't have that. Men have to provide value, or nobody gives a shit about them. And even when they do provide value, people still don't give a shit about them.
That's the raw truth. If every guy who constantly handed out attention disappeared, reality would hit fast. No more free praise, no instant pedestal, no shortcuts to admiration. Women would have to show real substance and accountability. Respect would mean something again, and relationships might actually feel balanced, genuine, and earned instead of entitled.
I put makeup on just for this date, so it better go well. And I'm not posting this, probably, if it doesn't. It did not go well. Truthfully, it lasted less than 2 minutes. I walked up, he gave me a hug and said, "Are you hungry? Let's go inside." We went inside. He said, "Actually, can you step outside for a minute?" I stepped back outside, and he said, "I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm just not feeling it." So I walked to my car, came back home. Dating when you're fat sucks.
Let's be real. If he left 2 minutes in, she probably left out a few key details, like what she actually looks like. So many women hide behind filters and flattering angles, then act shocked when the guy isn't into it. At least he was honest enough to walk away immediately instead of pretending. Brutal? Sure. But better than wasting time on a date built on false advertising.
Comply, goodbye. That's how it goes. Now, if you want to take my advice and listen to me, cool. If you don't, fine. You'll stay single for a couple more years.
I know it sounds harsh, but what he's saying is most women never tell you this in person. They'll be like, you know what?
Nah, bro.
You're amazing. I love you. Da da da.
And that
lie.
attitude, that attitude of I'm not gonna change, or I don't care what men want. I only want what I want. You're cooked, bro. You're never gonna get a guy to
but
take
I
you
never
seriously.
said that I wasn't gonna change, and we had this conversation earlier. I just said in this moment that right now I'm doing me, straight up, and that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying you asked.
That's not gonna work. That's not
Why
going
are
to
you
work.
getting so angry right
I
now?
am doing me is stupid.
Why are you getting so whatever?
I'm not mad. I'm just
You're
telling
just
you.
getting super aggressive.
No,
if my man wants
because-
me to do something different, then I'm gonna do something different.
I'm
I don't know why
telling
you're
you
saying
ain't
that
gonna
I'm not.
get him. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
I am not worried about that. I'm genuinely not. I get asked on a daily, weekly basis if I want to be someone's wife.
This right here explains why so many men are checking out. Women have turned "I'm doing me" into some kind of badge of honor, but it's really just self-centeredness dressed up as confidence. That "I don't care what men want" mindset isn't empowerment, it's entitlement. Men are tired of being disrespected and dismissed. Keep that attitude, and it's not independence you'll find. It's loneliness disguised as strength.
As a woman, you need to learn how to flip the script and make everything that man's fault. Even, it don't matter.
I see dozens of videos like this every single day. Explain to me again the benefit to a man being in a relationship with a woman, because there isn't.
This is exactly why so many men are checking out. Women act like focusing on myself is some badge of honor, but it just screams selfishness and zero accountability. That "I don't care what men want" mindset, it's pushing good men away. Keep that energy, and the only thing waiting down the line is emptiness and regret. This says it all. Women demand men to level up, provide, and bend over backward, yet refuse to take any real accountability. The hypocrisy is unreal. Women can shame men for not earning enough or not being their type. But if a man dares to have standards, he's labeled toxic. It's not empowerment, it's entitlement wrapped in buzzwords. And men are done staying quiet about it. The double standard's finally being exposed for what it is.
You can be in love and be really unhappy. Having a relationship that's causing you constant anxiety, constant heartache, constant pain, feeling overlooked, not feeling important. You can be in love and all of those things still be true. How crazy is that?
If the heartbreak were real, it wouldn't be filmed for likes. Real pain stays private. Those teary TikToks aren't healing, they're performance. Fishing for sympathy, not processing genuine emotion.
It is very hard to communicate facts without your interpretation of them or how people feel. I'm saying men will walk away, and men will walk away for two reasons. Number one reason, the quality of wives is too low. The women are too overweight. Not all. The women are too overweight. The women are too slutty. And the women, there's just not enough quality wives. You know, Aaron Clarey broke down the numbers that Michael Knowles, he was kind of disputing them in our debate. But Aaron Clarey did a whole video you can look up on his channel. It's from the Book of Numbers, going through how they got the 5% of women are marriageable stat.
The double standard is unreal. Call a woman overweight and it's body shaming, headlines, and instant outrage. But women clown men for being short every single day, and it's treated like a joke. One gets praised as confidence, the other condemned as cruel. Truth is, they're both preferences, but only men get punished for theirs. Guys are finally done playing by rules that shame them for existing while excusing the same behavior in women.
All right, I'm gonna say it. Some of y'all aren't gonna like it. Doesn't make it any less true. Here we go. A lot of really good men are leaving marriages. Why is that? Is it because they fell out of love, or is it something else? A lot of what we're seeing now is men leaving marriages, not because they've fallen out of love, but because they feel unappreciated within that marriage. Now, these guys, they work all day, they provide, they make sure you're safe, they make sure you're taken care of. What do they get in return? A lot of them are getting criticism for what they didn't do, as opposed to the thankfulness for what they did. Men are not like women. They don't need a big show of affection. They don't need a parade. They don't need constant gifts. But what they do need is appreciation, gratitude, respect. What they want to hear is that the person they're working so hard for, or the family that they're working so hard for, to say, "We appreciate all that hard work you're putting in. We see you." When a man feels unappreciated at home, doesn't matter how much he loves you, at a certain point, he can't keep continuing to pour from an empty cup. He's going to stop trying to pour into a cup that's continually empty. He's also going to stop pouring into a cup that constantly is looked at as half full.
This hits the truth. Men aren't walking away because they've stopped loving. They're walking away because they're drained, dismissed, and treated like ATMs. You can only give so much to someone who never appreciates it. Keep pretending good men don't exist, and don't act surprised when they finally disappear for good. Respect runs out long before love does.
It's hard to have your shit together. It's hard to be kicking ass in this fucking complicated, bizarre world that we live in. This is why women are so picky. When you see that 80% of the women are attracted to 20% of the men.
The world's brutal for men today. Pressure's insane. You're expected to be confident, rich, fit, and emotionally unshakable. But one slip and you're invisible. The 80/20ths rule is real. Most women chase the top-tier guys, leaving good men unseen, not because they lack value, but status or perfection.
The top 20% is doing 80% of the sales, making 80% of the money, getting 80% of the business. If you extrapolate that as far as social dynamics and men and women, the top 20% of men are getting 80% of the box. Okay? That's just kind of how it works. So if you strive for greatness and you become the top 20%, the top G, mate, you're going to get 80% of the women. That's just kind of how it is.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of capitalism. And not to get all economic here, is that in socialism, everyone's equal. This whole equality thing, we're all equal. But so that means there's no greatness and there's no below average. Everyone's fucking normal.
Absolutely.
The problem with that is if everyone's normal and we're all having a good time, who's cleaning up for after the party?
Life always favors the top. In money, business, or dating, the elite get the biggest share while everyone else fights for scraps. The 80/20th rule runs everything now. Top men get the attention, the matches, the breaks. The rest keep grinding quietly. Equality sounds nice, but the world still bows to results, not intentions.
We're all fucking the same men. You know, there's like 20% of men that are sleeping with 80% of the women.
All right, man, we go home, man. I think we're good. We got this. We got this handled. What else is there to say?
So I feel exactly.
Go ahead.
So we feel like men are bad, but we have to understand that it's not men that are bad. It's women that have lied to themselves and given us these fairy tales from the media and from Disney movies and from all these things that have given us this fairy tale ending with one man being faithful to one woman and them living happily the fuck ever after. And that does not exist anymore. Maybe it does in faith-based religions and institutions like that, but even then it gets even weirder in those scenarios. But I think women have to, we have to come to reality that this is a pipe dream and we have to learn to adjust and become more high value, because as you and I, I've hit the wall, you're not there yet, but I mean, some might consider she has. So we have to understand that this is a battle.
Social media's warped reality. A 5 out of 10 woman starts thinking she's a 9 out of 10. Constant validation from average men flooding her DMs and likes inflates egos fast. Too many guys keep handing out attention, and it's completely thrown off perception.
The Lord Panic, Rolo, I think this may be a silly question, but from your perspective, would life and or the sexual marketplace be like 80/20 rule was reversed? Wait a minute. That would life or the sexual marketplace, what would it be like if the 80/20 rule were reversed? I think those are kind of like hypothetical questions. Like if that were the case, then because what would happen is you would have to completely flip the attraction dynamic for that to be something. And in a sense, like the 80/20 rule is not necessarily based on like the quality of the guy. It's what are women attracted to and what do they need at a particular time. Remember, okay, children, let's do a little bit of remedial.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
Okay, so the remedial lesson in the 80/20 rule is this, okay? 20% of guys are not fucking 80% of women. All right. Get that out of your fat head. All right. When I'm going to debunk the red pill. Rolo thinks that 80% of women want to bang 20% of guys. Ha ha ha. No, that's not it. Stop it. 100% of women want to get with the top 20% of men. If you want to go with the 120 rule, there you go. The problem with that is that the 20% of guys who the women find, at least in somewhat, they're open to some kind of, discourse with them. They're attracted to those guys. Like that doesn't mean that means they are not the 20% of guys might potentially be acceptable to a woman. 80% of guys are unacceptable. They are unattractive. I've got the stats. How many times do you want me to throw this out there? I should just keep them in the sidebar just so you can see them all the time. 80% of guys are deemed unattractive. Not attractive, not maybe, not if he got himself into a better shape. No, they are unattractive. That's what that means. That's why there's the 80/20 rule. The 80/20 rule applies only to guys. Only to guys, all right? There's 80% of guys. When I say the 80%ers, those are the beta males. Those are the guys that are just like, women don't want to have anything to do with them. under normal circumstances, certainly under social media circumstances. Then there's the 20% of guys who are not necessarily attractive, but they could be they're considerable. Okay. Then, and it gets worse from here. Then there are the 4.5% of guys who are so attractive that women will actually initiate conversations with those guys online, on Bumble, on Hinge, on Tinder, on, I don't know, Match.com, whatever it is. Those guys, the 4.5%ers, those are the guys that nobody wants to talk about. Those are the guys, you want to talk about hypergamy? That's your hypergamy right there. There's only 4.5% of guys, at least according to modern statistics right now, that women find attractive enough that they will initiate the conversation. And that's really when you think about it in a larger sort of global gynocentric sense, those are the only guys who should ever be making any kind of approach on a woman. Anything else is creepy. Now, like I said, Sadie Hawkins' world, right? Sadie Hawkins' dance where the girl asks the guy out so that they can all go to the dance. The reason why that dance doesn't work is because it eliminates all of the attractive, cute boys on the school to go to the dance. That leaves all the ugly girls who didn't want to get with the 80%ers or even like part of the 20%ers. They go home and they commiserate together and they don't go to the dance. And then there's the 80% of guys who never got asked because it's the Sadie Hawkins dance. And they go and they I don't know, do 4-hour MGTOW dictionary podcast and commiserate about their state, right? But then there's the 4% of guys. If you think about it, 4% of guys, 4.5% of guys. If you figure that they are only pairing off with one guy and one girl, that's only 4.5% of women who either were lucky enough to get that guy or they're attractive enough for the top 4.5% of guys to actually want to go to the Sadie Hawkins dance with. And by Sadie Hawkins dance, I mean actually get together and bang. So that's where we're at societally today. You want to know why the fertility rate is what it is? That's why.
80% of men are deemed unattractive, yet society insists all women are beautiful. The 80-20 rule defines modern dating. Tech and hypergamy made most men invisible while women chase the top tier. Apps like Tinder amplify it. If you're not in that elite 20%, being a good man doesn't matter. You're just background noise.
There was an article that I saw, attraction inequality in the dating economy, and basically it goes into some analysis of kind of like how the likes or swipes are proportionally between men and women, and what percentage of women are liking guys and what percentage of guys are liking girls, and the tier of the quality of the people in terms of like attractiveness measurements. So I don't know if you've heard the saying, I talk about it in anything to do with self-improvement, I guess, in terms of aesthetic context, in terms of looking better, that the top 10% of men get 90% of the women. And these dating statistics seem to back that up pretty conclusively. And this is not unexpected. And, it's just something that I feel like drives home the point even harder. So this one was looking at Hinge. Aviv Gold, I don't even know how to pronounce this, an engineer for the dating site, recently analyzed the share of likes on Hinge that went to the most liked people of each gender. He found that inequality in dating apps is stark and that it was significantly worse for men. This is what we see where we have the top 10% of guys getting 90% of the girls. In here, this is a really old one. I had to get it from, it was like an archive. It was an OkCupid one. This is as far back as 2009. This is the same stuff you see today. The female equivalent of the chart above shows a different bias. As you can see from the gray line, women rate an incredible 80% of guys as worse looking than medium. Very harsh. This is the data for Tinder now. The average female likes 12% of men on Tinder. This doesn't mean, though, that most men will get liked back by 12% of all women they like on Tinder. This would only be the case if likes were equally distributed. In reality, the bottom 80% of men are fighting over the bottom 22% of women, and the top 78% of women are fighting over the top 20% of men. So we can see this trend in figure 1. The area in blue represents the situations where women are more likely to like the men. The area in pink represents the situations where men are more likely to like women. The curve doesn't go down linearly, but instead drops quickly after the top 20% of men. Comparing the blue area and the pink area, we can see that for a random female to male Tinder interaction, the male is likely to like the female 6.2 times more often than the female likes the male. So what is the conclusion from all that? Is basically that you need to be in the top 10% ideally if you really want to have a good selection, or at minimum 20%. But
many men settle too soon from scarcity. Many women wait too long from excess choice. Dating apps distort perception. Endless options make genuine connection harder. People chase thrill over stability until they realize fulfillment requires balance, not extremes. The system rewards short-term attention but punishes long-term sincerity, leaving both sides frustrated and uncertain.
I really find this fascinating is, what was it? 80% of the women go for 20% of the guys. So that means 20% of the guys potentially get 80% of the women. Now, if you delve into that a little bit deeper, they've got potentially the traits to appeal to the masses of women. And I find that dynamic really interesting. I say that because what happens to the rest of the guys? How do they feel? How do they act in society? How can they, get away from that?
What's frustrating about this reality is that many women are content sharing the same high-status men rather than building with someone on their level. They'll wait endlessly for the top guy, even if it means staying single while overlooking good men who'd actually commit and value them equally.
Partner with on the right is whom women would happily partner with. So what you basically have happening in the dating marketplace is 80% of women are chasing after the top 10, top 20% of men. And we know this because the way most people meet is online, on dating apps. That's the majority way people are meeting in today's day and age. And they've released the statistics on this, and we know the stats on this. Women only match with a very small percentage of men on dating apps, and it's the top men that are getting almost all of the matches on dating apps. So, yeah.
Do you understand that? Because we were talking about the bigger pool and the smaller pool earlier. Like, this is that scale. I didn't even know that was a thing. But
modern dating increasingly mirrors soft polygamy. Many women pursue the same small pool of top men, while average guys feel shut out. It's not that men created this imbalance. It's how current dynamics evolved. When attraction funnels upward, connection and stability decline, leaving both sides questioning what lasting partnership really means.
Men are everywhere. I got a challenge for every woman watching. Go outside, and today I want you to count how many men, period, you run into for one full day. I bet you if you're outside in the world, it would be more than 100. Now, every man, he might have been an Uber driver, he might have been a doorman, he might have been the gardener, he might have been the Amazon delivery guy, and a woman will say, yeah, I ran across 100 men, but none of them were their option. These men were virtually invisible because she has her eye on one guy, right? Now, here's the harsh reality. What if you're invisible to that one guy?
And after she chases that one guy that she likes and he does her wrong, she gets mad at all those good guys she passed like it's their fault.
Men find most women to be at least somewhat attractive. In contrast, women on average view 80% of men as below average in attractiveness. Another study found that on the dating app Tinder, men liked more than 60% of the female profiles they viewed, while women liked only 4.5% of male profiles. I didn't realize that 80% of men as below average. That's quite off.
It is, because, you would think like 50%, right? It's sort of like 50% above and 50% below, but to have 80% rated below is pretty grim.
Because of the increased risk women carry, they tend to be choosier about their partners. In contrast, men are less discerning.
Men of all ages need to learn from this. Quit chasing women. Women don't want to be chased. A woman knows you like her, but if she doesn't like you, she will use this to her advantage and play you for all you got. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal, link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.